Chapter 1. There are exactly 3 things everyone in my town knew about Lily Carter. First, she was beautiful. Second, she never smiled at anyone except me. And third, every guy who flirted with her somehow disappeared from her life immediately afterward. Not dead, just emotionally destroyed. One transferred schools after crying in the cafeteria. Another suddenly started dating someone in another state 2 days after asking Lily for her number. One poor football player publicly apologized to me for existing incorrectly after trying to impress her at a party. Nobody could prove Lily did anything, but nobody was dumb enough to ignore the pattern either. Unfortunately, my younger brother Ryan had always been the kind of person who saw warning signs as personal challenges. Which is why my life became a disaster. It started on a Friday evening. I was lying on my bed half asleep while Lily rested against my chest scrolling through her phone quietly. Rain tapped against the windows, the room dim except for the LED lights glowing blue near my desk. Everything felt peaceful, too peaceful. That should have been my first clue. "You smell different today," Lily suddenly said. I blinked. "What? You used another shampoo. How did you notice that?" She looked up slowly. "I notice everything about you. See, that right there. Most people would think that sounded romantic." I knew better. Last month she noticed I had skipped lunch because my heartbeat sounded slower during our phone call. Another time she correctly guessed I had a fever before I even checked my temperature. Sometimes I genuinely wondered if she was secretly FBI trained. Or possessed. Honestly, either explanation worked. Before I could respond, my bedroom door swung open without warning. Ryan walked in holding a soda can. "Yo," Mom said. He stopped mid-sentence. Lily's expression changed instantly. The soft warmth in her eyes disappeared so fast it was honestly terrifying. Not anger, not annoyance, worse, cold observation, like a wolf noticing movement in the bushes. Ryan, meanwhile, made the biggest mistake possible. He stared at her too long. Now look, Lily was gorgeous. I couldn't even blame people for staring sometimes. Long black hair, pale skin, silver gray eyes that looked unreal in dim lighting. But there's a difference between normal staring and whatever my idiot brother was doing. Ryan slowly smirked. "Oh," he said, "didn't know your girl was here." Lily said nothing. Ryan leaned against the doorframe casually. "Damn, Ethan, you've been hiding her from the family or what?" I immediately felt danger. Not normal danger. Not argument danger. I'm talking horror movie music danger. Lily sat up slightly beside me, still smiling. "Hello, Ryan." Her voice sounded perfectly polite, which somehow made it scarier. Ryan grinned. "Hey, big mistake number 2. He winked at my girlfriend. My soul physically left my body for 3 seconds. Lily tilted her head slightly. "You flirt naturally with your brother's girlfriend." Ryan laughed. "What? It's harmless." "No," Lily said softly. "It isn't." The room suddenly felt 10 degrees colder. I quickly stood up. "Okay, Mom wanted something, right?" Ryan shrugged. "Dinner's ready." Then, because apparently God enjoys watching me suffer, he looked directly at Lily again. "You should come downstairs too. We barely get to see Ethan bring girls home." Lily smiled faintly. "I'm not girls. I'm Lily." Ryan chuckled. "Fair enough." He finally left. The second the door closed, silence filled my room. I slowly turned toward Lily. She was staring at the door, expressionless. "Babe." No response. "Lily." She blinked once before finally looking at me. "Your brother is interesting." Every survival instinct I had activated instantly. "That's not a compliment, is it?" "No." She placed her phone down carefully. Then she climbed into my lap and wrapped her arms around my neck. "I don't like the way he looks at me." I sighed internally. Here we go. Ryan flirts with literally everyone. He doesn't mean anything, but he means something. What? He wants attention. Her fingers lightly played with the back of my hoodie. And people who want attention eventually become bold. I laughed nervously. "You're overthinking." Lily looked directly into my eyes. "No," she whispered. "I'm predicting." That sentence should not have affected me as much as it did. But the scary part, Lily was almost always right. She predicted my old friend Marcus would betray me over money 2 months before it happened. She predicted my college roommate would steal from me after observing his behavior patterns. She once predicted a fight at school nearly 30 minutes before it happened because 2 guys walked aggressively. I stopped questioning her instincts a long time ago. Still, this was Ryan. My annoying younger brother, sure, but not some villain. "You're reading too much into this," I said. Lily stared at me quietly for a few seconds. Then she smiled again, instantly warm, instantly sweet, like the creepy tension from earlier never happened. Maybe that should have reassured me. Instead, it somehow worried me more. Downstairs, dinner quickly turned into a nightmare. Ryan kept trying to talk to Lily. At first it was harmless. "So how'd you meet Ethan? What music do you like? Do you watch horror movies?" Normal questions. But then the tone changed. "You know," Ryan said while drinking soda, "I'm surprised someone like you picked my brother." I nearly choked on my food. Mom frowned immediately. "Ryan, what?" "I'm complimenting her." Lily calmly looked at him. "By insulting Ethan." Ryan smirked. "I'm just saying you could probably get anyone you want." Danger, danger, danger. Lily slowly placed her fork down. "And yet," she said softly, "I chose him." Ryan leaned back in his chair. "Still, if you met me first." "Ryan," I warned. He ignored me. Things might have gone differently. The table went silent. Even Dad looked uncomfortable now. Then Lily smiled. Not her normal smile. This one was smaller, sharper. "Oh," she said quietly. You're one of those. Ryan frowned. One of what? The type who mistakes confidence for value. I almost laughed. Ryan didn't realize he was walking into a landmine. He grinned again. You saying I'm wrong? Lily folded her hands neatly. I'm saying if I had met you first, I would have ignored you first. Dad coughed violently, trying not to laugh. Mom looked like she wanted to disappear. Meanwhile, Ryan's ego had clearly taken critical damage. But instead of backing down like a normal person, he doubled down. Cold, he muttered. Now I kinda want to make you like me. The second those words left his mouth, I saw Lily's eyes change. Not visibly. Most people wouldn't notice it. But I did. The warmth vanished, replaced by something possessive, predatory. Ryan had just unknowingly declared war. And the worst part, he had absolutely no idea who he was challenging. Chapter 2. The problem with Ryan was simple. He genuinely believed he was the main character of reality. Every bad decision somehow became confidence. Every warning became jealousy. Every consequence became people overreacting. And unfortunately for him, Lily Carter was not the kind of person you treated like a game. The morning after dinner, I woke up to 17 missed calls from Ryan. That alone scared me. Ryan hated waking up early. If the house was on fire before noon, he'd probably sleep through it and ask questions later. I called him back immediately. What happened, bro? He shouted the second he answered. Your girlfriend is insane. I sat up in bed instantly. What did you do? That's not important right now. It literally is. Ryan lowered his voice dramatically. She threatened me. I rubbed my face tiredly. What exactly did she say? Silence. Ryan, she just said some weird stuff. What weird stuff? Another silence. That told me everything already. You flirted with her again, didn't you? No, you absolutely did. Okay, maybe a little. I nearly threw my phone across the room. Are you stupid? She started it. How? She looked at me. I stared at the wall in disbelief. You're telling me my girlfriend committed the crime of having eyes? You know what I mean. No, actually, I didn't. Ryan sighed loudly into the phone. Look, I just joked around with her after you left for class. Cold dread slowly crawled into my stomach. What did you say? It wasn't even bad. Ryan, I just asked what she sees in you that she couldn't get from me. There it was, the sound of destiny slamming its head against concrete. You what? She got all creepy after that. I got out of bed immediately. What did Lily say? Ryan became quiet for a second. Then his voice dropped. She smiled at me, and, that's it. I blinked. That's the threat. No, listen to me, Ryan snapped. It wasn't normal. Now that I believed. She just stared at me for like 10 seconds smiling. I grabbed my hoodie. Ryan, you're being dramatic. No, I'm serious. Then she said. He paused again. What? She said she finally understood why some animals eat their young. I stopped walking. Oh, yeah, oh, okay. That was definitely a problem. Not because Lily would actually hurt him. Probably, hopefully, but because that sentence meant she was genuinely irritated now. And irritated Lily was unpredictable. By the time I got to campus, Lily was already waiting outside my lecture hall. Of course she was. She always somehow knew my schedule better than I did. She stood near the stairs wearing an oversized black hoodie with her headphones around her neck, casually scrolling through her phone while students passed by nervously around her. Even from a distance people avoided her. Not openly, just instinctively, like prey sensing a dangerous animal nearby. Then she noticed me, and instantly smiled, that terrifyingly beautiful smile that somehow made me feel both loved and slightly unsafe. You're late by 4 minutes, she said as I approached. Sorry, traffic. You skipped breakfast too. How do you keep knowing that? You blink slower when you're hungry. I honestly stopped trying to understand her months ago. I wrapped an arm around her waist carefully. Did you threaten my brother? Lily looked genuinely confused. No, he called me freaking out this morning. She thought for a second. Oh, that, Lily. I only answered his question honestly. I sighed. What question? He asked why I loved you more than him. My eye twitched. He seriously asked that? Yes. And what did you say? Lily looked me directly in the eyes. Because you're worth ruining lives for. I stared at her. A nearby freshman accidentally dropped his books after overhearing that. Honestly relatable. Babe, I muttered carefully, you can't say things like that to people. Why not? It's true. That's the problem. She tilted her head slightly. You dislike honesty. No, I dislike future criminal investigations. To my surprise, Lily laughed softly. Not fake polite laughter. Real laughter. It was rare enough that I almost forgot the conversation entirely. Almost. Ryan thinks you're scary now. He should. Lily. What? She asked innocently. You can't psychologically torture my brother. I can if he keeps trying to flirt with me. That made me pause. Wait, he's still doing that. Lily pulled out her phone silently. Then handed it to me. I looked at the screen. And immediately regretted having eyes. Ryan. If Ethan messes up, I call dibs. Ryan. You ever wonder what dating the hotter brother would feel like? Ryan. You definitely like toxic guys, huh? I physically cringed so hard my spine almost folded inward. Oh my god. There's more. I don't want more. There's significantly more. She scrolled downward. There were voice notes. Selfies. One picture was Ryan trying to flex shirtless in the bathroom mirror while biting his lip. I nearly collapsed from secondhand embarrassment. Please delete my brother. I considered it. I mean the messages. Oh. Lily calmly locked her phone again. I keep them for evidence. Evidence of what? In case I need to destroy him later. She said it casually. Casually. Like someone discussing grocery shopping. I grabbed both sides of my head. Lily, Normal girlfriends block people. Normal girlfriends don't get pursued by their boyfriend's sibling. Fair point. Still horrifying. As we walked toward class, several students greeted Lily nervously. Every interaction followed the same pattern. Hey Lily, hello, then immediate retreat. Nobody lingered around her long. Except me, and honestly that probably said concerning things about my mental health. Halfway across campus, Lily suddenly stopped walking. What? She looked toward the parking lot. Ryan stood there leaning against his car. The idiot actually smiled when he saw us. Oh no, no no no. He walked over confidently. Morning. Lily's expression flattened instantly. Ryan, she replied. He ignored the tension completely, which somehow made this worse. I was actually hoping to see you. I stepped between them immediately. Why? Ryan shrugged casually. Wanted to apologize if things got weird yesterday. Good, smart, maybe he finally learned. Then Ryan ruined everything 5 seconds later. But honestly, he continued while looking directly at Lily, I still think you and I would be interesting together. I closed my eyes. Amazing. Fantastic. My brother had chosen death. Lily became very still beside me. Too still. Ryan kept smiling, completely unaware of the danger standing 3 feet away from him. Then Lily suddenly smiled too. And somehow that was far more terrifying. You know, she said softly, I've been thinking about you too. Ryan looked surprised. Oh, yes. Her voice stayed perfectly calm. Mostly about where your confidence comes from. Ryan laughed. Natural talent. No, Lily replied gently. Delusion. I almost choked trying not to laugh. Ryan's smile twitched slightly, but before he could respond, Lily stepped closer. Let me help you understand something clearly. Her silver eyes locked onto his. If I ever stopped dating Ethan. She smiled wider. You still wouldn't have a chance. Ryan's ego visibly shattered in real time. And Lily still wasn't finished. You think this is flirting, she continued softly. But from my perspective, you're just a loud child touching things that belong to someone else. Ryan's face turned red instantly. Belong, yes. The way she said it sent chills down my spine. Then Lily wrapped her arm around mine possessively. I'm very protective of what's mine. For the first time since this nightmare started. Ryan finally looked nervous, and deep down, I realized something terrifying. Lily wasn't angry yet, she was still being patient. Chapter 3. If there was one thing more dangerous than an angry Yandere girlfriend, it was a patient Yandere girlfriend. Anger exploded, patience planned, and Ryan, unfortunately, kept giving Lily reasons to plan. For about a week, things were surprisingly quiet. No weird comments, no flirting, no shirtless selfies, no attempts to, accidentally, run into Lily. I actually started believing the disaster was over. That belief lasted exactly 7 days. Then my best friend Jake sent me a screenshot. Jake. Bro, Jake. Tell me this isn't your brother. Attached was a post from social media. My younger brother had uploaded a picture of himself at the gym. Normally that wouldn't matter. The caption did. Sometimes the right girl is just dating the wrong brother. I stared at my phone. Then stared at it again. Then checked if maybe I was having a stroke. Nope. The post was real. The comments were even worse. Ryan. Some people settle because they don't know better. Ryan. Just saying. I immediately called him. He answered on the second ring. What? Delete the post. Why? I nearly screamed. Because everyone knows who you're talking about. No they don't. Ryan. Okay maybe they do. I wanted to launch him into space. Instead, I drove to his apartment. When I arrived, Ryan was sitting on his couch eating chips while watching television. Completely relaxed, like he hadn't just volunteered to become the main course in Lily's revenge plans. You need to stop. Ryan rolled his eyes. You're overreacting. Am I? Yeah. He tossed another chip into his mouth. You act like she's some supervillain. I stared at him. The fact that he still didn't understand the situation was honestly impressive. Ryan, what? Have you ever wondered why every guy who flirts with Lily suddenly disappears? He laughed. You're seriously buying into those rumors? No, I wasn't buying into them. I was dating them. Unfortunately, before I could continue arguing, Ryan's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen. And immediately froze. The color drained from his face. Interesting. Very interesting. What? Nothing. Ryan. He slowly turned the screen around. My stomach dropped. The message was from Lily. Lily. Interesting post. That was it. 3 words. Ryan swallowed. Dude. I rubbed my forehead. You brought this on yourself. She can't actually do anything. The confidence in his voice sounded weaker now. Much weaker. His phone buzzed again. Another message. Lily. I especially enjoyed the part where you embarrassed yourself publicly. Ryan stared at it. Then another message appeared. Lily. Check your comments. Slowly. Very slowly. Ryan opened the post. His expression changed instantly. Confusion. Then panic. Then pure horror. What happened? Without speaking, he handed me the phone. The comment section had exploded. Apparently somebody had discovered dozens of old messages Ryan had sent to girls over the years. Cringy messages. Desperate messages. Messages that sounded like they were copied from terrible dating coaches. Screenshots were everywhere. People were laughing, mocking, posting memes. Ryan looked like he was about to faint. How did this happen? I already knew the answer. The scary part, I wasn't even sure Lily had done anything illegal. She was terrifyingly good at finding information. Did she leak these? I don't know. The truth was even worse. I genuinely didn't know, because Lily was capable of uncovering embarrassing information without technically doing anything wrong. Ryan quickly started deleting comments. More appeared. He deleted those too. Even more appeared. The internet had smelled blood. And once that happened, there was no stopping it. His phone rang suddenly. One of his friends. Ryan answered immediately. What? A voice shouted through the speaker. Even I could hear it. Did you really send a girl 52 texts in one night? The call ended. Ryan slowly lowered the phone. I almost felt bad for him. Almost. Then I remembered he was trying to steal my girlfriend. Maybe apologize. Ryan looked furious. This is her fault. No, it is. No, she humiliated me. I pointed at his phone. You humiliated yourself. That conversation ended about as well as expected. Which meant Ryan blamed everyone except himself. Including me. Especially me. For the next few days he barely spoke to me. And honestly, I preferred it that way. Unfortunately, peace never lasted long around Lily. 3 days later, she and I were having lunch near campus. Everything was normal. She was stealing food from my plate. I was pretending to complain about it. Life was good. Then Lily suddenly stopped chewing. What? She looked past me, toward the student parking lot. I turned around, and immediately wished I hadn't. Ryan was there, again, but this time he wasn't alone. A group of his friends stood nearby, laughing, watching. One of them pointed toward Lily. Another nudged Ryan, and then, Ryan waved at her, like an idiot, like an absolute, catastrophic idiot. Lily slowly set down her fork. The movement alone made me nervous. He never learns. I sighed. No, he thinks this is a competition. Apparently. Lily folded her hands together. For a moment, she simply watched him. Silent, thinking, and that worried me more than anything else. Because whenever Lily got quiet, something happened afterward, something unpleasant. Promise me something. I blinked. What? If your brother does something stupid again? Her voice remained soft. Don't defend him. That wasn't an encouraging statement. What are you planning? She smiled. The smile of a person who absolutely had a plan. Nothing, Lily, nothing serious. That answer somehow made me feel worse. Then she stood up. Where are you going? To speak with Ryan. Oh no, relax. No, I'll be polite. That's not reassuring. She leaned down and kissed my cheek. Then walked toward the parking lot. Alone, graceful, calm, beautiful, terrifying. I watched Ryan's confidence disappear the closer she got. Good. Fear was finally entering the chat. His friends were still laughing when she arrived. 30 seconds later, none of them were laughing anymore. I couldn't hear the conversation from where I sat. But I could see it. Ryan talking, Lily smiling, Ryan talking less, Lily still smiling, Ryan suddenly looking uncomfortable, then nervous, then pale, very pale. By the time she returned to the table, Ryan looked like he had seen a ghost. What did you say to him? Lily picked up her drink calmly. I gave him advice. What advice? She took a sip, then smiled. I told him some people mistake obsession for attraction. My stomach tightened, and I explained that eventually obsession becomes regret. Something about that sentence made me uneasy. Very uneasy. Across the parking lot, Ryan was staring at us. For the first time since this whole mess started. He looked genuinely scared. Unfortunately for him, the fear had arrived much too late. Chapter 4. Most people think fear changes people. They're wrong. Fear only changes intelligent people. Stupid people usually mistake fear for a challenge. In Ryan had never let intelligence get in the way of his confidence. For about 2 weeks after Lily's little conversation with him, he stayed away. No messages, no social media posts, no weird comments, nothing. I started relaxing again. Big mistake, because the moment Ryan stopped acting openly, he started acting secretly. And that's always worse. I found out on a Thursday night. Lily and I were sitting in my apartment watching a movie. Well, technically the movie was playing. Lily was spending most of her attention watching me instead. Every time I looked at the screen, I could feel her eyes on me. Finally, I paused the movie. Why are you staring at me? I'm not, Lily. I enjoy observing you. That's a fancy way of saying staring. She smiled. I sighed. Then my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. At first, I ignored it. Then another arrived, and another. Curious, I opened them. The first message contained a screenshot. The second contained another. The third contained several more. As I looked through them, my expression slowly darkened. Lily immediately noticed. What happened? I handed her the phone. She took it, read the screenshots, then became very still. Uh-oh. The screenshots showed a group chat. Ryan and several of his friends. The messages were recent, very recent. One of the guys had asked if Ryan was finally giving up on Lily. Ryan's response made my jaw tighten. Ryan. Nah, Ryan. Just changing strategy. Another message followed. Ryan. Girls like her eventually get bored. Ryan. I just need her to see Ethan isn't perfect. Then, Ryan. Once she gets angry at him, I'll be there. The room became silent, dangerously silent. I slowly looked toward Lily. Her face showed absolutely nothing. No anger, no sadness, no irritation, nothing. That was somehow worse. After nearly a minute, she carefully locked the phone and placed it on the coffee table. Then she smiled. Oh, that was all she said. Just one word, and somehow it terrified me. Lily, please don't commit any felonies. Her smile widened slightly. I make no promises. Wonderful, fantastic, exactly what every boyfriend wants to hear. I moved closer. Babe, yes, ignore him. I tried. No, seriously, I am serious. Her voice remained calm. Too calm. Your brother keeps insisting on becoming my problem. I couldn't even argue, because she wasn't wrong. The worst part, Ryan genuinely seemed convinced he had a chance. Not only that, he apparently believed he could somehow make Lily break up with me. Which was the romantic equivalent of trying to rob a bank using a spoon. The next day, things got worse. Much worse. I was eating lunch with Jake when he suddenly froze. Dude, what? Jake slowly handed me his phone. Tell me that's not your brother. I looked, immediately regretted it. Ryan had posted another video online. This time it wasn't subtle at all. The video showed him working out in a gym. The caption read, "Never settle for second place. Sometimes the better brother wins." I nearly broke my phone. Jake looked horrified. Is he suicidal? I think so. No, seriously. So am I. The comments were already brutal. People were roasting him non-stop. But that wasn't what worried me. What worried me was Lily. Because she hadn't said anything all day. Not one message, not one call, not one reaction. That silence felt unnatural. Around evening, I finally found her sitting alone near the lake behind campus. The sun was setting. Orange reflections danced across the water. Normally, it would have been peaceful. Instead, it felt like the opening scene of a horror movie. Lily sat quietly on a bench, watching the lake, thinking, dangerous, very dangerous. I sat beside her. Hey, hello, you saw the video? Yes. And, she smiled faintly. In nothing. I stared at her. Liar. Her smile grew slightly. Maybe. That wasn't encouraging. At all. For several moments neither of us spoke. Then Lily suddenly asked, do you know why your brother bothers me? I blinked. Because he's trying to flirt with you. No. Then why? She looked out over the water. The flirting isn't the problem. Now I was confused. What is? Her answer came instantly. He thinks you're replaceable. The words hit me harder than expected. Lily finally turned toward me. For once, her expression wasn't creepy, or possessive, or calculating. She looked genuinely upset, and somehow that felt worse. He keeps acting like you're a temporary obstacle. Her fingers tightened slightly around mine. As if everything you've done for me means nothing. I didn't know what to say. Because beneath all the Yandere behavior, Lily truly loved me. Completely, unreasonably, terrifyingly, but genuinely. And Ryan's behavior wasn't just insulting her. It was insulting us, our relationship, everything we'd built together. For the first time, I understood why she was so angry. Not because Ryan liked her, but because he treated our relationship like a joke. Eventually Lily stood up. Where are you going? I have somewhere to be. That answer immediately worried me. What kind of somewhere? She smiled sweetly. The harmless kind. That was not a real category. Before I could stop her, she kissed my forehead and walked away. I watched her disappear down the path. A cold feeling settled into my stomach. Because after months of patience, after months of warnings, after months of giving Ryan chances, I had the uncomfortable feeling that Lily had finally decided she was done being nice. And if that was true, my younger brother was about to learn why everyone else had learned to leave her alone. Chapter 5. The next morning, Ryan called me at 6:12 a.m. That alone told me something had gone horribly wrong. Ryan considered waking up before 9 in the morning a violation of human rights. So when I saw his name flashing across my screen before sunrise, I answered immediately. What happened, Ethan? His voice sounded strange, not angry, not confident, scared, a little. Ryan, I think your girlfriend is stalking me. I closed my eyes. Here we go. What happened? You need to tell her to stop. Tell me what happened first. There was a long pause. Then Ryan sighed. When I got home last night, there was a package outside my apartment. My stomach sank. A package? That definitely sounded like Lily. What was inside? Another pause. A mirror. Quote. A mirror. Yeah, I frowned. That's it. No, of course not. There was a note. I rubbed my face. What did the note say? Ryan lowered his voice. The person ruining your life is visible from this angle. Silence. Complete silence. Then, I laughed. I couldn't help it. I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my phone. Ethan, I'm sorry. No, you're not. Okay, maybe I wasn't. Because honestly, that was hilarious. And also exactly the sort of thing Lily would do. Psychological damage, minimal legal consequences, maximum emotional impact. Ryan sounded furious. This isn't funny. It kind of is. She left a mirror on my doorstep. Technically she left self-awareness. He hung up on me. Probably for the best. 2 hours later, I found Lily sitting in her usual spot outside the library. Reading a book, looking completely innocent, which was suspicious, very suspicious. I sat down beside her. Morning. Good morning. Did you send my brother a mirror? She calmly turned a page. Maybe. Lily. What? Why? She finally looked up, and smiled. Because he keeps searching for the source of his problems. I pinched the bridge of my nose. I swear one day you're going to become a supervillain. Only if you ask nicely. That answer didn't help, at all. For the next few days, things became strangely quiet again. Ryan stopped posting online, stopped making comments, stopped trying to show off. Honestly, it was wonderful. Then Friday happened. Friday ruined everything. I was hanging out with Jake after class when he suddenly looked horrified. What now? Jake slowly handed me his phone. I think your brother has finally lost his mind. I looked at the screen. Then immediately wished I hadn't. Ryan had uploaded another post. This time it wasn't aimed at Lily directly. It was aimed at me. A photo of him standing beside a sports car. Caption: some people get lucky, some people are simply better. Below it, he'd added another comment. Being the older brother doesn't make you the better brother. I stared at the post. Then stared at Jake. Then back at the post. Why is he like this? Jake shook his head. I honestly think he's addicted to bad decisions. I couldn't even argue. The problem wasn't the insult. The problem was that Ryan still hadn't learned anything. Every warning, every humiliation, every consequence, and somehow he still believed he was winning. That evening I went to meet Lily for dinner. The second she saw my face, she knew something was wrong. You saw another post. It wasn't a question. I sighed. Yeah, show me. I handed her my phone. She read the post, read the comments, then calmly handed the phone back. No reaction, no expression, nothing, which worried me a lot, because Lily was either extremely angry or extremely amused, and neither option was good. Say something. She took a sip of her drink, then smiled. He still doesn't understand. Understand what? Her silver eyes met mine. That I stopped competing with him months ago. That confused me. What do you mean? Lily leaned back slightly. When people compete, they believe both sides have a chance of winning. I suddenly understood. Oh no. From Lily's perspective, Ryan wasn't a rival. He wasn't competition. He wasn't even a threat. He was just an annoyance. Like a mosquito that kept flying around. And somehow that realization felt worse than if she hated him. Then Lily asked a question. Do you know what your brother fears most? I blinked. No, I do. The way she said it made me nervous. What is it? She smiled. Being laughed at. I froze. Because she was right. Ryan could handle criticism, arguments, insults, but humiliation, public embarrassment, he absolutely hated it, and judging by Lily's expression, she knew that too. Lily, whatever you're planning, I'm not planning anything. Lie. An obvious lie. A terrifying lie. I opened my mouth to argue. Then my phone buzzed. A message. From Ryan. I opened it, and immediately felt cold. Ryan. Bro, I think something's wrong. Another message appeared. Ryan. People keep sending me weird stuff. Then another. Ryan. Did Lily tell people about me? I frowned. What? Then another screenshot arrived. This time my eyes widened. Someone had created a compilation video. Not by Lily. Not officially. Just random people online. A montage of every embarrassing thing Ryan had posted over the last few months. Every failed attempt to impress Lily. Every arrogant caption. Every public rejection. Every moment he'd made himself look ridiculous. The video was spreading fast. Very fast. I slowly looked up from my phone. Lily was quietly eating her food. Completely calm. Too calm. Quote. Did you make this? She looked genuinely offended. No, really, why would I need to? Good point. That was the scary part. Lily hadn't needed to do anything. Ryan had created all the evidence himself. The internet had simply assembled it. And now the consequences were catching up. For the first time since this entire mess began, I felt a tiny bit sorry for him. Just a tiny bit. Then my phone buzzed again. Another message from Ryan. This one was shorter. Much shorter. Ryan. I think I messed up. I stared at the screen. Because after months of stupidity, months of arrogance, months of refusing to listen, my younger brother had finally taken the first step toward understanding reality. Unfortunately for him, the realization had arrived far too late, because someone else had already made a decision, and judging by the look in Lily's eyes when she checked her own phone, the next move wasn't going to belong to Ryan anymore. Chapter 6. Ryan's text kept replaying in my mind. I think I messed up. If that message had come 3 months earlier, I probably would have believed he was finally ready to change. Now, I wasn't so sure. Ryan had apologized before. Every apology lasted until his ego recovered. Then he'd go right back to making the same mistakes. I glanced across the dinner table. Lily was quietly stirring her coffee. She hadn't said a word since reading Ryan's message. That silence bothered me more than if she'd laughed. Babe, promise me something. She looked up. If Ryan actually wants to apologize. I hesitated. Please give him a chance. She studied my face for a few seconds. You're asking because he's your brother. Yeah, and if he lies, I'll deal with him, and if he flirts again, he won't. Her eyebrow rose slightly. You sound confident. I have to believe people can learn. For the first time that evening, Lily smiled warmly. I hope you're right. The following afternoon, Ryan texted me again. Ryan, can we meet? I replied almost immediately. Me? Where? Ryan. The cafe near Riverside Park. When I arrived, Ryan was already there. He looked awful. Dark circles under his eyes. Wrinkled clothes. His hair looked like he hadn't bothered touching it all morning. He hadn't even ordered anything. That alone told me he was genuinely stressed. I sat across from him. You wanted to talk. Ryan nodded slowly. I messed up. I stayed quiet. He continued. I thought she was just playing hard to get. I nearly spit out my water. You what? I know. Okay. No, I don't think you do. Ryan sighed. I've never met a girl who rejected me like that. I stared at him. Ryan, she wasn't rejecting you. What? She was never considering you. That sentence hit him harder than I expected. He looked away. I know that now. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then Ryan reached into his pocket. I wanted to show you something. He handed me his phone. There were dozens of unread messages. Some from friends, some from classmates. Most were making fun of him. The compilation video from earlier in the week had exploded online. People had turned his failed attempts to steal my girlfriend into memes. One clip had over 2 million views. Another had thousands of comments. Ryan rubbed his forehead. I can't go anywhere without someone recognizing me. I almost felt bad. Almost. Then I remembered he'd created every bit of this himself. You could have stopped months ago. I know. I warned you. I know. Lily warned you. I know. My friends warned you. I know. The cafe became silent. Ryan lowered his head. I'm tired, Ethan. His voice cracked. I'm tired of everyone laughing at me. For the first time since this whole nightmare started, I believed him, not because of what he said, because of how he said it. There wasn't any pride left. Just exhaustion. Then apologize. I want to. Mean it. I do. I looked into his eyes. I'll arrange it. His face brightened with relief. Really? Yeah, but understand something. What? If you waste this chance. I leaned forward. Quote. I won't help you again. He nodded immediately. I understand. I hoped he actually did. That evening I met Lily at our usual spot by the lake. She was feeding ducks with small pieces of bread. The ducks loved her. Animals always did, which somehow made her even scarier. You met Ryan. It wasn't a question. Yeah, and I think he's serious this time. She stayed quiet. He wants to apologize. Still nothing. Lily. She tossed another piece of bread into the water. Do you know what he did yesterday? I frowned. No. He followed me. My heart stopped. Quote. What? She nodded. From campus. Why didn't you tell me? I wanted to see how long he'd continue. My stomach twisted. How long? 23 minutes. What? He stayed 2 cars behind me almost the entire drive. I stood up immediately. I'm calling him. No. Lily. That's insane. I know. He told me he wanted to apologize. She finally looked at me. And before deciding to apologize, she held up her phone. There was this. It was security camera footage. Ryan's car, following hers, timestamped. Yesterday evening. I couldn't say anything, because there it was. Proof. Undeniable proof. Lily quietly locked her phone. He wasn't trying to apologize yesterday. I couldn't even finish the sentence. I don't know why he followed me. I do. Her voice remained calm. He wanted to know where I live. Cold fear settled in my chest. Because that actually sounded like something Ryan might do. Not to hurt her, just to prove he could get close. The kind of stupid decision someone makes without thinking about how terrifying it looks. I sat back down slowly. I'll deal with him. You already said that before. I mean it. So did he. Silence settled between us. The ducks continued swimming peacefully across the lake, completely unaware that my family was falling apart. Finally, Lily spoke again. I'll meet him. I looked up. What? I'll accept his apology. Relief washed over me. Really? Under one condition. What condition? She smiled. It happened somewhere public. That seemed reasonable. Okay. And you're there. Of course. And if he lies? Her smile didn't change. The conversation ends immediately. I nodded. Fair. She stood up and brushed the crumbs from her hands. When? I'll ask him. As we walked away from the lake, I couldn't shake the feeling that this meeting would decide everything. Either Ryan would finally admit his mistakes, or he would make one last, irreversible decision. And knowing my younger brother, I wasn't sure which outcome terrified me more. Chapter 7. By Saturday afternoon, everything was arranged. Ryan had agreed to meet Lily. Public place. No friends. No tricks. Just the 3 of us. He even texted me first. Ryan. I really want to fix this. I stared at the message for a long time before replying. Me. Don't make me regret believing you. He replied almost instantly. Ryan. I won't. I wanted to believe him. I really did. We chose a quiet cafe downtown. It was crowded enough that nothing dramatic could happen, but quiet enough to have a real conversation. I arrived first with Lily. She wore a simple white sweater and jeans, looking so normal that no one would ever guess half the campus secretly feared her. She sat across from me, calmly sipping iced tea. You seem nervous, she said. I am. Why? Because whenever you and Ryan are in the same room, my blood pressure doubles. To my surprise, she giggled. I'll behave. You promised. I did. A few minutes later, Ryan walked in. The confident swagger he'd always had was gone. His shoulders were slumped. His eyes avoided Lily completely. When he reached our table, he hesitated. Can I sit? Lily nodded. Please. He slowly pulled out the chair and sat down. For almost 30 seconds, nobody spoke. Finally, Ryan took a deep breath. Lily. She looked at him. I'm sorry. No excuses. No jokes. No fake smile. Just those 2 words. I crossed the line. Lily remained silent. Ryan continued. I kept treating you like some prize I could win. He looked down at the table. I disrespected you. Then he turned toward me. And I betrayed you. Hearing those words made my chest tighten. Ryan had never admitted he was wrong this directly before. I've spent the last few weeks blaming everyone except myself. He gave a bitter laugh. But every embarrassing thing that happened. He shook his head. Quote. I caused it. I could tell he meant every word. Even Lily seemed to notice. She asked quietly. Why now? Ryan answered honestly. Because I finally realized something. He looked at me. If someone tried to steal the person I loved. He swallowed. Quote. I'd hate them too. The table fell silent. For the first time, Ryan understood. Not because he'd been humiliated. Not because he'd become a joke online. But because he'd finally imagined himself in my position. Lily folded her hands together. Do you expect forgiveness? Ryan quickly shook his head. No. Then what do you want? His voice cracked slightly. Quote. I don't want Ethan to lose his brother because I was an idiot. I looked away. That sentence hit harder than I expected. Lily watched him for several seconds. Long enough that Ryan started getting nervous again. Then, she smiled. Not the terrifying smile. Not the fake polite one. A small, genuine smile. I believe you. Ryan blinked. Quote. Really, I do. His shoulders relaxed for the first time in months. But, the relief disappeared immediately. There's one thing I need to know. Ryan nodded. Anything. Lily leaned forward slightly. When you followed my car. My heart immediately sank. What were you planning to do? Ryan froze. Completely. His face lost every bit of color. He looked at me, then back at Lily. The silence stretched on. Finally, he answered. I wanted to know where you lived. Lily didn't react. Why? Ryan covered his face with both hands. I don't know. That's not true. His breathing became uneven. I thought. He couldn't finish. What did you think? Lily asked softly. Ryan lowered his hands. I thought if I kept running into you. He laughed bitterly. You'd eventually notice me. The cafe became completely silent. Even I didn't know what to say. Because hearing it out loud, it sounded even more pathetic than I'd imagined. Ryan looked utterly ashamed. I wasn't thinking. No, Lily agreed. You weren't. Another long silence followed. Then Lily reached into her handbag. Ryan stiffened immediately. So did I. She pulled out a folded envelope. Nothing else. She placed it on the table. This is for you. Ryan looked confused. What is it? A gift. He hesitated before opening it. Inside was a single sheet of paper. At the top, written in neat handwriting, were the words. Things you should never do again. Below it was a numbered list. Flirt with someone in a relationship. Mistake arrogance for confidence. Ignore people's boundaries. Follow women without permission. Compete with your own family. Confuse obsession with love. At the bottom, one final sentence. Become someone your future self can respect. Ryan read the page 3 times. Then, to my complete surprise, he started crying. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quiet tears falling onto the paper in his hands. I'm sorry, he whispered. So am I. Lily's voice remained gentle. You could have become a good man much sooner. Ryan nodded repeatedly. I know. For the first time since this nightmare began, it looked like everything was finally over. None of us noticed the young man sitting 3 tables away, holding up his phone, recording the entire conversation, and smiling, because by tomorrow morning, that video would spread across the internet, and it would create one final problem that none of us saw coming. Chapter 8. The video was online before any of us even woke up. I found out because my phone started vibrating non-stop at 7:03 a.m. Jake had sent me 12 messages in less than 2 minutes. Jake. Bro, wake up. Jake. Please tell me you've seen this. Jake. The whole campus is talking about it. Still half asleep, I opened the link. My stomach dropped. Someone had secretly recorded our conversation at the cafe. Not all of it, just enough. The video started with Ryan saying, I betrayed you. Then it cut to Lily asking him why he had followed her. Then it showed Ryan admitting, I wanted to know where you lived. Finally, it ended with him crying while holding the letter Lily had given him. The title made everything worse. College player breaks down after trying to steal his brother's girlfriend. It already had hundreds of thousands of views. By the time I got dressed, it had crossed 1 million. Ryan called me before I even left my apartment. He sounded completely defeated. Quote. It's over. Ryan, my boss saw it. I froze. What? He called this morning. My heart sank. Ryan had been working part-time at a sports equipment store. They said I embarrassed the company. What happened? I've been suspended until they decide what to do. I leaned against the wall. This had gone way beyond campus drama. I'm coming over. No. What? I don't deserve your help. Before I could answer, he hung up. I found Lily outside the library. She was looking at the same video. Her expression wasn't angry. It wasn't satisfied either. She simply looked disappointed. I didn't post it, she said before I could speak. I know. I would have never humiliated him after accepting his apology. I know. She locked her phone and slipped it into her bag. Someone wanted attention, and they got it. For the first time in weeks, Lily actually looked frustrated. I hate people who record strangers without permission. That surprised me. You do. She nodded. Some moments are private. The irony wasn't lost on me. The girl everyone thought was a monster was the only person upset that Ryan's most vulnerable moment had become entertainment. By lunchtime, campus had turned into a circus. Everywhere we walked, people whispered. Some laughed. Some pointed at Ryan's face on their phones. Others looked at Lily with fear, as if she had forced Ryan into everything. She hadn't. Ryan himself had admitted the truth. But the internet never cared about context. Only headlines. Jake caught up with us near the student center. Guys, what? They found the person who uploaded the video. I blinked. Already. Jake nodded. It wasn't even someone we know. What? It was some wannabe content creator. Apparently, the guy had been filming random people in cafes hoping to capture viral moments. He had no idea who we were. He just thought the conversation sounded dramatic enough to upload. Within hours, it had exploded. Ryan's humiliation had become someone else's paycheck. That evening, I finally managed to reach Ryan. He agreed to meet me at our old neighborhood basketball court. When I arrived, he was sitting alone on the bleachers, staring at the ground. He looked worse than I'd ever seen him. I lost my job. I heard. My friends stopped answering my calls. I stayed quiet. The ones who kept encouraging me. He laughed bitterly. They're making jokes about me now. That sentence hurt, because I'd warned him. Not once, not twice, dozens of times. Ryan looked up at me. You know what the worst part is? What? I kept thinking I was competing with you. He smiled sadly. I never realized. His eyes watered. There was never a competition. I sat beside him. You finally understand. Yeah, I wish it hadn't taken this. So do I. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then Ryan reached into his jacket pocket. He pulled out the folded letter Lily had given him. It was worn from being opened so many times. I've read this every day. He smiled weakly. I finally understand every line. I looked at the paper. Especially the last sentence. Become someone your future self can respect. Ryan carefully folded it again. I want to change. I believed him. For the first time, I truly believed him. Then my phone buzzed. It was Lily. Lily, can you bring Ryan to the old park tomorrow evening? I frowned. Me? Why? A few seconds later, she replied. Lily, there is one final thing that needs to be said. I showed the message to Ryan. He swallowed hard. Quote. Is this the part where she kills me? Despite everything, I laughed. No, you sure? I smiled. If Lily wanted revenge, I looked at him seriously. She had dozens of chances. Ryan thought about everything that had happened over the past few months. The public embarrassment, the warnings, the rejection, the letter. Then he slowly nodded. You're right. He stood up. I'll meet her. As we walked home under the setting sun, neither of us noticed someone watching from across the street. Not with hatred, not with curiosity, but with guilt. The young man who had secretly recorded us had finally realized the damage his video had caused. And tomorrow, he intended to face all three of us. The meeting Lily had planned was no longer just about Ryan. It was about everyone whose choices had turned a foolish mistake into a public spectacle. Chapter 9. The next evening, I arrived at the old park 15 minutes early. It was the same place where Lily and I had gone on our first date. A quiet park with a small lake, a wooden bridge, and benches hidden beneath tall oak trees. There weren't many people around. Just a few joggers and families enjoying the cool evening air. Ryan arrived 5 minutes later. He looked nervous enough to faint. You think she's really forgiven me? He asked. I think she wants to see whether you've forgiven yourself. He frowned. What does that mean? You'll find out. A few moments later, Lily walked toward us. She wore a simple black dress with a light gray cardigan. No dramatic entrance. No cold stare. Just, Lily. She stopped a few feet away from Ryan. For several seconds, neither of them spoke. Finally, Ryan broke the silence. I almost didn't come. I know. You knew. You nearly turned around twice before entering the park. Ryan looked around in confusion. How did you? You always look at the exit before walking into a place when you're afraid. Ryan blinked. Quote. You noticed that. I notice many things. I couldn't help but smile. Some habits never changed. Ryan took a deep breath. I wasn't lying at the cafe. I know. I've been thinking about everything. He lowered his head. I treated you like an achievement instead of a person. Lily nodded. Yes. I treated Ethan like he was someone I needed to beat. Yes. And I kept blaming everyone except myself. Another nod. Yes. Ryan looked directly at her. I don't expect you to forgive me. Lily was quiet for a long moment. Then she asked, do you know why I hated your actions so much? Ryan hesitated. Because I kept flirting with you. No. Because I followed you. No. He looked confused. Then, why? Lily looked at me before answering. Because you were willing to hurt the one person who has always protected you. Ryan froze. She continued calmly. When we first met, Ethan spoke proudly about his younger brother. I looked at her in surprise. I did. You did. She smiled faintly. You said Ryan was annoying. I laughed. But that you'd always have his back. Ryan slowly turned toward me. I hadn't told him that. Lily continued. Even after everything you did. She looked at me again. He never stopped asking me to give you another chance. Ryan's eyes became watery. He did. I shrugged awkwardly. You're still my brother. Ryan covered his face with one hand. I don't deserve him. No. Lily's answer was immediate. You don't. Ryan lowered his hand. But, her voice softened. You can become someone who does. Silence settled over the park. It wasn't uncomfortable. It felt peaceful. For the first time in months. Just then, someone slowly approached us from behind. It was the young man who had recorded the cafe meeting. He looked even more nervous than Ryan. I'm sorry to interrupt. We all turned toward him. He swallowed hard. My name's Noah. None of us spoke. I recorded your conversation. I know. Lily replied calmly. I posted it online. I know. His shoulders slumped. I didn't think. He shook his head. I just wanted views. He looked at Ryan. I ruined your life. Ryan stared at him for several seconds. Then surprised all of us. No. Noah looked confused. I ruined my own life. Ryan gave a bitter smile. If I hadn't acted like an idiot, there wouldn't have been anything to record. The young man's eyes filled with tears. I'm still sorry. You should be. Ryan's voice wasn't angry. It was honest. But I can't keep blaming everyone else. I looked at my brother. He wasn't the same person who had walked into my room months ago with that arrogant grin. The humiliation, the loneliness, the consequences, they had finally forced him to grow up. Noah reached into his backpack. I already deleted the original video. He handed Ryan a folded document. I've also uploaded a public apology and explained that the video was recorded without your permission. Ryan unfolded it. It was genuine. No excuses. No attempts to shift blame. Just an apology. I know it won't erase what's happened, Noah said quietly. But I wanted to start by taking responsibility. Lily smiled faintly. That's more difficult than most people think. Noah nodded. I know. As the sun began to set, the four of us stood quietly by the lake. For months, everything had revolved around pride, jealousy, obsession. Now, it was finally about accountability. Ryan suddenly turned toward me. Ethan, yeah, I'm sorry, I smiled. I know. He pulled me into a hug. It had been years since we'd hugged. When we stepped apart, he laughed awkwardly. So, he glanced nervously at Lily. Are we okay? Lily looked at him for a few seconds. Then gave a small nod. We're beginning. Ryan smiled for the first time in what felt like forever. It wasn't the arrogant smile I'd grown used to. It was humble, real. As we started walking toward the park exit together, Lily quietly slipped her hand into mine. She leaned close enough that only I could hear her. I was serious, you know. About what? If he had ignored today. I sighed. I know. She smiled sweetly. But he didn't. For the first time since this entire nightmare had begun, neither of us had to worry about Ryan anymore. Or so we thought, because waiting at home was one final surprise that would test whether Ryan had truly changed. Chapter 10. 3 days passed after our meeting at the park. For the first time in months, everything was quiet. No arguments, no embarrassing social media posts, no random messages, no drama. It almost felt strange. Ryan had disappeared from the internet completely. He deleted every post aimed at me, every arrogant caption, every video trying to show off. Even the gym pictures were gone. He wasn't trying to erase his mistakes. He simply didn't want to keep living inside them. One Saturday afternoon, Mom invited everyone over for lunch. I'll admit, I was nervous. The last family dinner had been the beginning of this entire disaster. Now it felt like we were returning to the scene of the crime. Lily squeezed my hand as we walked to my parents' front door. Nervous, a little, she smiled. I'll be nice. You've been saying that a lot lately. I've also been keeping my promise. I couldn't argue with that. She had. Despite everything Ryan had done, she had never crossed the line she couldn't come back from. The front door opened. Mom hugged both of us immediately. Oh, thank goodness. What? You kids are finally acting like a family again. Dad laughed from the living room. Come in before the food gets cold. When we entered the dining room, Ryan was already there. He stood up the moment he saw us. For a brief second, the room became awkwardly silent. Then Ryan walked toward Lily. Not too close, just enough to be respectful. He bowed his head slightly. Thank you. Lily blinked. For what? For giving me the chance to become a better person. The room became completely silent. Even Dad stopped eating. Ryan smiled awkwardly. I used to think confidence meant proving I was better than everyone else. He looked at me, but Ethan already proved he was better. I frowned. When? Ryan laughed softly. Every time you defended me, I didn't know what to say. He continued. I kept trying to take something that wasn't mine, while you kept trying to save someone who didn't deserve it. Mom quietly wiped away a tear. Dad smiled proudly. Ryan turned toward Lily again. I'll probably spend a long time making up for what I did. You will, Lily answered honestly. And that's okay. He nodded. I know. Then, to everyone's surprise, Lily reached into her handbag. Ryan instinctively took one nervous step backward. I couldn't help laughing. Even Lily smiled. I'm not carrying anything dangerous. Ryan rubbed the back of his neck. Quote. Old habits. She pulled out the folded letter she'd written weeks earlier. The one titled, Things You Should Never Do Again. She placed it on the table. You've memorized this already. Ryan nodded. I have. Then you don't need the paper anymore. She tore it in half. Then into quarters. Then dropped the pieces into the trash. Ryan stared at her. What are you doing? I don't want your future to be chained to your worst mistake. He stood there speechless. So, Lily continued, don't make me regret throwing it away. Ryan smiled. I won't. For once, everyone believed him. 6 months later, life looked completely different. Ryan had found a new job. He'd stayed off social media except for occasional family photos. He'd even started volunteering at a youth center on weekends, helping teenage boys avoid the same arrogant mistakes he'd made. One afternoon, Jake laughed as we watched Ryan patiently coaching a group of kids at the community basketball court. I never thought I'd see the day. What day? The day your brother became the mature one. I laughed. Let's not get carried away. Ryan heard us and rolled his eyes. I can still hear you. Good. The kids around him laughed. So did Ryan. It was a different laugh now. Not one filled with ego. Just happiness. Later that evening, Lily and I sat together on the same bench where she'd once warned me about Ryan. The sunset reflected across the lake. I've been thinking, I said. About what? If Ryan hadn't been so stubborn, none of this would have happened. She nodded. True, but, I looked at her. If none of this had happened, I would have never realized how much you were protecting me. Lily rested her head on my shoulder. I was only protecting what I love. I smiled. I know. After a comfortable silence, I asked the question I'd been wondering about for months. So, she looked up. Were you ever actually going to ruin his life? Lily thought about it, then smiled mischievously. What do you think? I groaned. That's not an answer. It is. No, it isn't. She laughed. A real laugh. Warm. Genuine. The kind that reminded me she wasn't just the terrifying girl everyone whispered about. She was also the girl who had chosen mercy when revenge would have been easier. The girl who loved me enough to fight for our relationship, but wise enough to stop when someone sincerely changed. I wrapped an arm around her shoulders. You know, you're still scary. I know, but I love you. I know, and please, yes, never write me one of those letters. She smiled innocently. I already have. I froze. You what? She giggled as she stood up and started walking away. You'll get it if you ever deserve it. Lily. She laughed louder, looking back at me with that same beautiful smile that had terrified half the town. This time, it only made me smile too. Some people would always call her a yandere. Others would call her obsessive. Maybe they were right, but to me, she was simply the woman who loved fiercely, forgave sincerely, and taught my younger brother the hardest lesson of his life. Respect isn't something you take from others. It's something you earn through your own actions. And thankfully, Ryan finally learned that before it was too late.